Hey, what's happening everybody? It's Adam here from GIS Express and welcome to this quick video tutorial where we'll be exploring how to get started with this very powerful plugin, ArcGIS for Excel. Now today I'm hopefully going to show you how you can get started with the plugin and also make the most of your current Excel data, right, by tapping into the plugin's key functionality around spatial analysis and visualization. Now, Excel workbooks and CSVs might not be a specific GIS data format in the sense that they weren't built specifically to house geographic information the same way, say, shapefiles or feature classes were, but they are incredibly common in the GIS world. If you're working anywhere close to GIS, it can probably be said that, many organizations throughout the world run entirely just on Excel sheets, right? And the good news for us as kind of GIS professionals or people who work in the GIS space and make use of ArcGIS in our day-to-day jobs, through the ArcGIS for Excel plugin, we don't even need to leave any Excel workbooks or workspaces to start plotting spatial information on an interactive map. So let's dive in. In this tutorial, we're going to be working with an Excel sheet that holds a bunch of historic data for historic buildings in Munster. That's a province in Ireland that comprises of 6 counties. We'll also have some addresses as well that will geocode in a separate column. That's here. And hopefully with the help of ArcGIS for Excel, we're going to start transforming this kind of regular tabular data into something that looks a bit more slick, right, and a bit more interactive. So let's get started. How do you get ArcGIS for Excel plugin is probably the first question on your mind. So the good news is, due to recent changes in the way the plugin can be downloaded, it can be downloaded directly via your Excel workbook. Okay, if you have a Microsoft 365 license, you can download it directly from your Excel workbook. No need going and messing around in websites or app stores. You can go to Insert, top left of your Excel sheet. You can go to Get Add-ins, and up pops the Office add-in store, and you can just simply search ArcGIS. Up it pops ArcGIS for Excel, and you can click Add. And what that does then is it adds on a little nice tab here called ArcGIS. Now we have our help guides, we have our function builders as well, which can be quite powerful. But since we're just interested in getting started, this is a tutorial if you haven't come across ArcGIS for Excel first. But what we can do is we can show map, and up pops our default extent, the exact same extent you should be seeing in your ArcGIS Online account. And so from here, I have my interactive map on the right. I have my tabular data on the left. I can resize this as well if I need to, right? So I can make my map smaller. I can make my map bigger, right? Doesn't really matter. But from here, what I'm looking for, if I just make this a little bit smaller, in my data set, I have a whole bunch of columns, right? So this is coming from the National Inventory of Architectural Heritage in Ireland, but it is essentially a survey carried out of historic buildings. I have the addresses of these buildings. I have what county it sits in, the composition of this historic building. Somebody's done a survey and gave it an appraisal. I have the date it was constructed, the date it might have been demolished. I have ratings as well, so these are whether the building itself is of national or regional or international importance. I also have original type, so whether it was started off as a house and maybe today it's something different. And then I have an image link, website link, very useful for pop-ups if I have links. But the most important thing when we are dealing with ArcGIS for Excel is to look for these columns here, because if I have latitude and longitude, that is perfect. You can see here as well, the data provider in this case has provided stuff in Irish Transverse Mercator and Irish National Grid as well, just different coordinate systems, all of which ArcGIS for Excel supports but we'll be dealing with latitude and longitude. So long as you have latitude and longitude within your Excel data, it's very easy to start plotting those points. So each row in this Excel sheet is going to correspond to a point we're going to plot on our map. And let's just see how many values I have in this data set. So I have 16,500, right? So quite a lot of data. Let's see once I open up ArcGIS for Excel. Let's see how quickly it can process these 15,500 records. Yeah. So first thing to get started, then, we can go to layers. And you can see here I have two different options, right? I can add from Excel, which is what we'll be doing on the left-hand side, bringing our own tabular data to the plugin, or we can add in our own content as well from ArcGIS. So you can add in stuff from Living Atlas, from ArcGIS Online, your organization's content, your own content as well. But since I have an Excel sheet, right, it might feel rude not to actually geocode this. It is an option to add in your own data, but let's go ahead and click on Excel. My first option here is to select a cell range. Now, I'm going to select everything, but again, if your data set has a whole bunch of columns and some of them aren't needed, then you can go right ahead and just select the ones that you want. Maybe you only want 2 columns, right? Latitude and longitude. Maybe you want some more attribute information with it. You can start unselecting things as well if you want, just by pressing Control left click and selecting the data that you want. From here though, so I have my data selected. My first row contains headers, which it does. You can see the plugin itself is quite intelligent in the sense that it's picked up location type by default, coordinates. And then it's also gone ahead and picked up the first coordinates that it's seen. So this was X, Y coordinate, and which is in Irish National Grid. Now the spatial reference in this is going to be way off. But what I do, if I have latitude and longitude, I can go in, select longitude, my X value, scroll down, select longitude. Latitude then is my Y value. And then my spatial reference by default here is WGS 84. That's perfect for latitude and longitude. But from here, you can see just how many coordinate systems you do have access to. So I could geocode all of these. If you have your own coordinate systems, you can go ahead and put it in there as well. What you can also do, if you know the spatial reference, so the WKID of your coordinate system, you can put it in here. So I know that what I want is WGS 84. I know that's 4326. I can start typing it in, and the machine's going to pick it up automatically as well. Okay. Once I'm happy with that, I've selected my columns that I want in it. In this case, I'm going to select all of them, because why not? And then how many, what location types I have, so coordinates. I've specified my longitude field, I've specified my latitude field, and I've also specified my spatial reference. I know that I'm expecting 15,500 records, so let's see how fast the system can geocode it. I'm expecting this to probably take a while. It'll run away in the background. That's actually quite fast. Hey, there you go. Wow. I want to say that's probably faster to plot those points than uploading it directly to ArcGIS Online, which is quite impressive. So it's processed those 16,500 records in absolutely no time flat, which is quite insane if you think about it. So let's expand our web map. So each row in our Excel sheet is now a point on a map. And I have pop-up information as well to it. So each one of these contains a unique pop-up. And I have access to everything that I selected, all three pairs of my coordinates. That's quite cool. And then in this case then, so if I wanted to symbolize this, and say, if we look back at our data, we had one original type might be good to symbolize based on, or rating as well. So this is whether the historic building is of national importance, international importance, or just regional importance. And if I wanted to do that, if I wanted to change the symbology of what I'm seeing on screen in my interactive map, I go to the top right here, the little settings icon over the layers icon. And I have a few different options, right? By default, it's going to pick up the active layer. Perfect, what it's plotted on the map. And then it's going to give me two options. So I can select drawing column on size. Now I don't really have appropriate data for this because I just have a whole bunch of coordinates in various spatial references. And then I have date from and date to, which is being picked up as an integer. But if you did have numeric values within your attribute table, you can select drawing column based on size, or select drawing column based on color. And that's what I want. So if I symbolize this based on rating, very, very quick to change the symbology. I have options, so I can put it in as a heat map if I want as well. And it's going to change, give me the kind of hot spots. Or I can go in, again, just select rating for my drawing column in color. And down the bottom I have unique symbols. Now, the great thing about the ArcGIS for Excel plugin is that I have access, I have full control over the look and feel of this. Everything from symbology, I can change them to squares, I can change them to little diamond shapes if I want. I can change the color ramp, so if I'm not happy with the default green, blue, and red, I can change it, to something a little more meaningful to me, right? If I want to change the color ramps, I can. What I can also do then is change the size. So if we see here, I have regional, national, international, and maybe there's a point to be said, to say national should probably be a little bit bigger than the regional. And here you can see I have a gallery full of different stuff. I can choose firefly symbology, I can choose points of interest. I have tons of different ones. I'm going to stick with the basic ones, but what I can do is make my national symbology a little bit bigger than my regional one, and then my international sets of points, I can change it to maybe size 21, right, to give it a kind of not a proportional symbol per se, but just based on the level of importance. I can change the transparency as well if I want. If I don't want, cool enough, we don't need to, but there are options there as well for rotating symbols as well if you need it. What's really cool about this type of plugin is you can see here in the layers, if I expand this, I can click on international, and by default then it filters out everything. So if I have, it almost feels like the instant app interactive legend, where I'm going in, I'm clicking on my legend here, I get information about it. If I just want to see the nationally important historic buildings, I have access to it. If I just want to see regional, or I want to see national and international, I can do that, get information about it, zoom into it, click on the point, get information about it, and get more information about it. Again, because it has links out, I can click on these image links. Everything's fully interactive. Right, there it is there. And then I can say, oh, I want to see the website link as well. And it pops up. It functions exactly like a pop-up would in ArcGIS Online. And I can get information about it if there's any reports available, right? And I get access to those hyperlinks, as well as all my other information, without having to leave my Excel sheet. Another thing we can do, of course, is change the base map of things. So if I want to change it to imagery, I want to zoom in, to that little Swiss cottage of international importance we just seen. I can change it to dark gray canvas. I can change it to any options that are available within my gallery. Another thing I can do as well is start to search, right? So I can search by postal code, I can search by address, I can search by, city names and say, oh, Cork City, it'll bring me to it. And I can zoom in, it gets a nice little circular symbol, and I can see what's happening at that point. What I can also do is click on analysis. So there's analysis tools in it. Now, by default, my analysis is my measure tool, which I do have access to, which is quite cool, that I can zoom into an area of interest. I can change my units, metric, or imperial, whatever you have, right? You can change the miles, kilometers, whatever it is. You can measure polygons as well, so you can draw around areas. Double left click to finish. Change your unit if you need to. And you can copy values out. So if I need to copy this into a report, I can, and say, oh, this area in particular, right? Take screenshots of it, whatever, but I can copy out values as well. Another cool thing is that I have access to my analysis tools within ArcGIS Online as well. And it just goes, I can select my whole data set. Now again, this might throw it a little bit because it's coming up and saying, the numbers of features in the layer for analysis can't be greater than 1,000. Well, that's fine. We'll come back to it. But it's a useful thing to have, that you can start generating buffers, generating drive times, join features together directly from your Excel sheet. What's really cool about the plugin, though, is that I can start getting demographic information for anywhere in the world, right? So using the Michael Bauer Research database coupled with the Esri demographics, I can zoom into an area. Let's zoom into Waterford, say. And what I can do is I can just select my variable. So I can go in here and say, you know what, I want female population, male population, and say total households and average household size. And you can see here I'm getting little pop-ups along the top. I can say, you know what, I want to break this down by age then, and say, okay, total age 0 to 14, and up pops my demographics on the right hand side. The really cool thing about this is, if you see here, if I zoom in, it automatically polls the data on the right hand side, the demographic data, and tells me, within this map extent, 432 females, 519 males, there's 540 households, and the average household size within this map extent is 1.76. If I zoom out, I get different options, right? So it's always polling, and it's really nice piece of functionality to have in there. If I zoom in to a small town, Carrick-on-Shore, I can see, the total populations, the total households, the household size, and then I get my age breakdown. So it's a really handy way. And I only have a creator license. I'm logged in, but I get access to all this information-rich data sets to use contextually on whatever data I've plotted in my interactive map. And of course then, once I'm ready, if I'm ready to share this, I can share it as a map. I can say Munster, NIAHA's National Inventory for Architectural Heritage. I can give it a tag, give it a summary. I can share it with everyone if I want, and I can just hit share. Another cool thing around the Excel plugin is that I'm happy enough, okay, I'm just going to reset map, and I can just reset it. So if I'm working on something, if you just get data launched into your email inbox via Excel, and you need to get quick kind of analysis around it before uploading it somewhere, you can do that. Or if you just need to investigate things, visualize things, you can do that as well. I can reset the map, sign back in, and from here I just have a simple data set. So I have 10 values. I have air code, which is the postal code in Ireland, and then maybe you have something like status, right? But just to give an example of how you can geocode directly within it. You don't need latitude and longitude to make this work. You can select your cells before opening it up. I go into layers, Excel, my location type is address, and I can use the Esri ArcGIS World Geocoding Service. and I can say, oh, my address is in multiple columns, which you can specify them all, or you can say, in my case, it's just postcodes, and I can say address equals air code, and just add to map. And again, there we go, fully interactive. I go in to my settings tab, I can say, oh, well, set in drawing order, status, and I can quickly see if I go back, open this up, and I can say, show me connected, show me the not connected, show me other if applicable, right? But just a really handy way, and then I can share that directly to my ArcGIS Online account. I can print as well, via PDF. It does take a second to load. It's an option, but you can share it directly with your colleagues or whoever you need, whoever's in your ArcGIS Online account. So yeah, look, tutorial on ArcGIS for Excel plugin. I highly recommend if you work daily with Excel sheets. This is a really useful tool. I use it a lot in my consultancy work. And hey, hopefully you found this video tutorial useful. One thing to note, just the very next question I always get asked on ArcGIS for Excel if people are using it. If you want to share this, you can just save it. But somebody will need to have ArcGIS plugin enabled right within their Excel sheet. If you want to exchange Excel sheets, set it up for somebody to come along to. They will need their own ArcGIS Online license. They will need their own Microsoft 365 license to go into insert, get add-ins, search for ArcGIS. But hey, look, just another option for sharing data. Doesn't need to be a web map, doesn't need to be a PDF. It could be a fully interactive Excel sheet. So yeah, look, hopefully you found that helpful. And yeah, have a great day, and hopefully we'll chat soon.